Good morning. Morning Musings by Melinda. I hope you had a super great weekend. We had a good weekend. We spent a lot of it with Elliot, and we got him a couple of parakeets, a blue one and a yellow one. He named the blue one Rio and the yellow one Tweety. And so we are now bird owners. I just think it's so important when you are a grandparent, when you're parents, to honor the experiences that your children should learn from you. And you know that children with hands-on grandparents are much better rounded and more balanced than children who have part-time grandparents. So Bill and I take our grandparenting for all of our grandchildren very seriously. But that's not part of how we live a generous life, even though we may be very busy people, and it's part of giving our time to our grandchildren seems generous. Actually, when I'm talking to you about living a generous life, it's exactly what you don't think I'm going to be talking about, because we all know that I talk about kindness, random acts of kindness, about, being compassionate, about, being in a situation where you do the right thing, even when it's not the easy thing. I mean, you've heard that so many different times. But today, when I'm talking to you about living a generous life, I want to talk about how you are at the core of all the vibrations that you send out to others. So the way you live your life within yourself, that inner life, is about generosity, graciousness, gratitude, and honor and integrity. And how you treat yourself is the most important thing in living a generous life. So if you are absolutely suffocating from anxiety, you're not living a generous life. And how do you handle that if you're suffocating from anxiety? Well, you have to make sure that you're doing all of those things that help with anxiety, including seeing a counselor, including, doing journaling, including meditating, including all of those things to help you with that anxiety. But you don't just sit and suffocate. If you're putting everything off that you're supposed to do and you're a procrastinator, you're not living a generous life, because what you're doing is you're making a situation where you live in fight or flight in a continuous way, and so that adrenaline is dropping into your brain and you're burning yourself out. And so if you're a procrastinator, you're not living a generous life for yourself. Now, remember, everything that I say reflects out like a rock in the water and ripple effect to everyone around you. If you feel angry all the time, you are not living a generous life. What you're doing is you're closing everything down in a tight way and making all of your body and cells be vibrating in an essence of shadow rather than light. If you are constantly complaining and you just can't stop complaining and you're a constant victim, you're not living a generous life. In fact, what you're doing is you're creating such negative vibrations that you will attract people to you that will be difficult and also cause more anger. It's a vicious cycle. If you can't resist saying something in a negative way, especially in today's world, and now the political climate is getting even more heated, and you see something on Facebook or on social media that you can't resist saying something negative, then you're not living a generous life, because your negative comments certainly are not going to change someone's mind about something. It's really about having a decent dialogue that counts. And I don't think we can do that on social media, really, because the way that it comes at us is so different than what we may mean when we're writing those things down. If you don't honor your intuition, you are not living a generous life, because your gut is what really counts. Your intuition is what really counts. Now, if you can't tell the difference between what you're thinking and what you're feeling, then you have to take some real time for reflection and meditation and be generous to yourself in that regards, so that you can start to begin to honor and trust that intuitive side of yourself, and start really paying attention to what your intuition is saying. If you don't take the time to laugh and play and have fun, and you're just a worker bee and all you do is work, then you are not living a generous life, because you know what? that kind of thing is an energy that means that you're wasting all of the gifts that God has given for joy and bliss in life. If you don't give yourself permission to meditate, to exercise, to eat right, if you're making excuses, then you're not living a generous life. If you sit around and don't do anything but let the idiot box fill your brains, then you're not living a generous life. And lastly, if you let fear rule you in any way, whether that being get on an airplane, because it's really the safest form of travel, or to prevent you from doing something new, or going somewhere that's out of your comfort zone, or doing something creative that's out of your comfort zone, whatever it is, if you are living in any fear whatsoever, you're not living a generous life. So living a generous life has nothing to do with what you give, whether you give to charity, whether you give of your time or any of that. It's what you give here. It's what you're putting in your heart and soul. It's how you manifest your own reality from within yourself that allows that to ripple out to the people around you. Sometimes people look generous and they're really just giving to get attention. You know what I'm saying? It's like that giving the best gift at a wedding kind of thing, because you want, that kind of accolade or that kind of attention. That is not living a generous life. That has nothing to do with living a generous life. It's all about intention and allowing yourself to be free enough to be yourself and to honor all of those things that I just said and have it just ripple out to others that creates that generous life. I hope you have a happy week, a happy Monday, and I'm looking forward to Sunday coming up. This coming up Sunday is the 6th, October 6th, because in the morning at 9 a.m. we will be doing some free lives, and I hope that you'll join me then, and have a great Monday.